Welcome to the podcast where we take a deep dive into the stories behind construction business leaders. We will share how they got started, how they found success, and the lessons learned along the way. I'm your host, Eric Fortenberry. Welcome to Builder Stories. Welcome back, everybody. Today, I'm here with a pair of brothers. I've got Jeff and Brian Shelburn. They have been located in Denver, Colorado. They've started Remodelex a few years ago, or I don't know, maybe 7-8 years ago now. So we're gonna get to hear from them and learn a little bit more about how they got into it. And excited to have you guys on the show. Welcome to Builder Stories.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. Appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, so why don't you guys kick it off for us? Kind of tell us a little bit more, how you guys grew up and got into construction. What led you to start Remodelex, and kind of tell us what you guys do.
Yeah. So from the very beginning, we're from a blue collar family. Our dad was an iron worker, from the East Coast, so kind of blue collar Italian family. Um, and so grew up with the trades. Loved working with dad on little projects around the house and things. Um, Hmm. I personally went to college, for nutrition. I wanted to be a sports dietitian. I was a personal trainer. And then in college, just kind of, because I paid my way through college myself, kind of decided it wasn't really worth getting an advanced degree and kind of came back to construction. So worked for a home builder in Illinois. We were living out there at the time. Um, we both did. Brian and I together worked for that same builder, as well as our dad. And, then moved out here to Colorado. We kind of moved on different circumstances, and I had always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and starting a business in construction just made sense.
Awesome. So Brian, what's your story?
Yeah, so like Jeff worked in Illinois there, and I kind of came to Colorado via Montana. I lived there for a little while first, and Jeff actually got Remodelex underway here in Colorado. And then about a little less than a year into that, he and I started talking, and he kind of convinced me Colorful Colorado was the place where it was all going on, and come down, join him in the venture, and um, see what we could accomplish here. And so came down. We've been together ever since working on this, and loving it, loving every day, love the challenge, love the excitement, the highs, the lows, they all come together in just a very great way of satisfaction every day with what we get to accomplish.
That's awesome. So is y'all's dad involved in the business?
Um, yeah, so he has been. He's actually, uh, mom and dad live in at the Milwaukee area, so they're remote. Um, but dad has actually helped us quite a bit on estimating. So working, through job tread estimating. And then he kind of took a break, and he's actually going to be joining us part time next week, as a more official role. So that's kind of big for us. I mean, we're a small company, but for Brian and I mean, we're on site every day, and we do the estimating and the meetings and everything. So just kind of have some of that taken care of by him and be able to work, with our dad. Like we're really excited. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool. So like all three of you work together at the home builder in Illinois, and now getting back together. That's my dad is our CFO here, so I've always really appreciated the opportunity being able to work with him every day. And it's certainly for a lot of people, being able to mix the family and the business doesn't always work out. So kind of
Yeah.
curious, how has it been for you all? Have you guys always gotten along, or any good brotherly fights we ought to know about?
Yeah, we've actually always done really well. We've always grown up with a really great family dynamic. But I mean, just like anyone else, Jeff and I have a lot of differences, but our core values are really the same. Like we really value an amazing customer experience and a high quality product and bring that together. So instead of having our differences divide each other, we actually really lean on that for each other's strengths. So the things that I'm not good at, Jeff really excels at, and vice versa. And the same with our dad. We can really lean on my dad's experience, his his strengths as well, and he lets us excel in our strengths. And so we've had clients who are like, man, I could never work with my brother. That's like incredible. You guys work together. And we'll be like, we even vacation together, like when we're done working. And they're like, you vacation and work together? Like, how is that possible? Like, don't you guys need a break? And obviously we, do our own things, but also like we really do like we're excited to go to work together and we're excited to go drive our motorcycles together on the weekends or whatever it is. Yeah. So but it's an amazing experience.
It's kind of funny too because I used to work for a family-owned company, and there was a lot of different tensions like just that developed over the years. And when I started Remodelex, like my one of my number one things was I do not want it to be a family company because I didn't want it to cause tension and problems. And like that's what it is. Because even like Brian's wife Rachel, works with us, and even our mom and my wife. And so it really is a family company, and there's been zero problems. It's been awesome. So really grateful for that.
And we all prioritize like the company over or the family over company, right? Like we're not going to sacrifice our relationships for the sake of money or company. Like the important thing in life is family and relationships. So keeping that a priority.
That's awesome, man. I just, I love seeing it when when it can work out because, again, I know firsthand, like it's, man, we only get one life here. So, when we can surround ourselves with the people we love, get them to do the things that we love to do, it just makes that journey even more exciting and rewarding.
Yeah, 100%. And even so it's the two of us and then the two other guys that work with us, Alex and Mason. They are lifelong friends of ours, basically grew up as little brothers. So they are both brothers and we're brothers, and the four of us are really close. So really it really is a really tight-knit group that we do together here, and it's great. We get on each other's nerves, but we always come back to, hey, the relationship is more important than anything work related, and we work through it, get past it, and it's just the best memories that we can make.
No, that's awesome. So what's everyone's role? Like what do you guys both focus on?
So for me, it's kind of everything. It's, you know, estimating. It, when leads come in, it's responding to them, um, meeting with them. We both do that. Um, it's all of the, selections, scheduling, all the pre-construction work. And then when the job starts, I'm working, like I'm on site, um, swinging the hammer every day. One thing that's probably a little unique about us is that we try to do as much of the work ourselves in-house and sub out as minimal as we can. Um, so, we're basically managing the jobs, managing all the jobs from the one that we're working on. So, we try to leverage technology to be efficient and, um, use iPads and AirPods and smartwatches and computers and all of that to get those things done during the day. Um, but yeah, wear a lot of hats, but I do like all the aspects. That's kind of my problem is I actually really like the paperwork and I really do like being on site doing the work. Um, it gets stressful when it's just an overwhelming amount in a particular day. Um, but yeah, I like it all. So
Yep, and we pretty much all take turns of all of those responsibilities. So I do the same. I do all the computer work and everything, but I'm also on site doing the work and managing that. And same with Alex and Mason. They will be project managing, owning the customer, contacting the subs, all of those things, and doing all the same work. The most unique roles is our father or mom, who are remote, and so they're more strictly computer work, or my wife or Jeff's wife doing computer work or some emails, things like that. But us four guys who do the work, we really wear all the hats, all four of us.
Nice. What so what types of jobs are you guys doing?
we're a full service general contractor. We do everything from the smallest job you can imagine, up to pretty much, building a whole home or, pretty much the biggest project. So we can handle anything. Um, I'm not really a fan of turning any work down or having minimums. Um, that's kind of one of the things I did the first year before Brian joined me. I kind of looked at really small jobs as leads. And even if it was something as simple as like caulking a kitchen sink where the caulking had cracked, and would I'd be there and charge them $20. You know, I would look at that like a job lead that I got paid for. Just do a really nice job on that, and then without really intending to, it would lead to more. So yeah.
It's awesome. Have you seen the like kind of the opportunity to take on larger projects? I mean, how has that kind of grown over the years for you?
Yeah, it's definitely grown. I mean, every year the projects have gotten bigger. First year was like we're doing a lot of backsplashes and tile and powder bath floors and master baths, and now it's a lot of basements, main floor remodels, um, more comprehensive projects. So kind of gone from like little, $5,000 to $10,000 projects to like 100,000 and up. So, smaller projects compared to a lot of other builders. But for us, it's definitely grown, and honestly, we don't do a lot of those small projects anymore. Not because of us, but I think people just realize that we can do more things. So typically, like we'll only do a backsplash now if it's part of a kitchen remodel and not a one-off thing.
Gotcha. So tell us a little bit about like the sales process for you. So how are people finding you? When they first reach out, who's that going to? Kind of how are you sort of walking them all the way through to, becoming a customer?
You bet. Yeah. So, our our leads are almost 100% referrals, whether that's word of mouth or off of like next door. It's pretty much all referrals. We've never spent, well, I think you spent $50 once on like a Facebook ad or something like that for the fun of it. But besides that, we've literally never spent any money on advertisement. So it's all word of mouth. So the leads come in, they're really strong because everyone, especially in the construction industry, there's just such a stigma of shadiness that can happen, and so everyone wants to know like who's a good guy, who will deliver. So when we get the leads, they're usually very strong of like, hey, you did my friend's kitchen, can you come do mine? So those just come in, phone calls, emails, text messages, whatever they are, usually get sent to Jeff, and he sends them to JobTread to put in their information, so they fill out their name, their address, everything like that. And we set up a time where we go out and we talk them over what their project is. We look at their house, we get all the measurements, notes, pictures, videos. We do a LIDAR scan, get a layout, all kinds of really cool things. And that's how we essentially get our bids sent out to the clients. Um, and yeah, we have really strong, like I said, the leads are usually really strong, so a lot of times we get to vet them pretty well even before we send them a bid. We get to talk to them about what the timeline is, if we're booked out 6 months and they want it done 1 month from now, but then there's no point in us going to meet them or take the time to send the quote, but we try to align the budget and the timeline before we spend the time on that so that our time in bidding and everything is very efficient. So by the time that a quote is sent out, there's a high probability most of the time that we're going to win it. And also, they already have a lot of confidence in us because we've met face to face. And like, I go and I do the estimate, and I also get to tell them, hey, I'm going to be the person here on site doing the work, managing it. It's going to be my personal responsibility. So they have so much confidence because they'll ask me a question and I get to reply as somebody, not just who has book knowledge, but also who has the street knowledge of this is what it's going to entail. This is the names of the subcontractors that come in. I know the pricing. I know the industry. I know all these aspects. So it's really easy to connect, to share your knowledge, to share unique ideas. I'm an ideas guy. Like I can just pop out all these ideas. They're not all good. They're not all bad, but like it shows people that like I'm engaged and I'm not just there to, you know, quickly get their info and run back home or something, but that I want to put into their project, put into their house and their life. Um, so yeah, the sales process usually goes really well for us.
That's awesome. Yeah, sounds like with all referrals, I mean, it's that's the dream place for everyone. They a lot of people don't have that luxury though.
Yeah, we've been really blessed that way. It wasn't like part of a particular business plan, just kind of started. doing my best every day, and already had a reputation, especially for tile work in this area here in Denver. And so kind of some clients came with me, and it grew off of that. But yeah, it's awesome not having to pay for advertising. I mean, even now when it's like, not it's a little slow. Some contractors in our area are pretty slow, but we're not really. Um, just to be able to like rely on that is such a blessing.
Yeah. So you said though you're booking. I mean, how far out are you booking? I mean, do you often have a backlog of six plus months?
We do. Yeah. I mean, right now it's not as much as it is at times. We've been booked up to, over a year and a half. Typically it's around a year or so. Right now we're booked through April. Um, so I get a little nervous when we're booked out for like less than 4 months. Um, but yeah, we pretty much always have a backlog, and it's awesome. I mean, most people who come to us are willing to wait, and they see that as a good thing because we're in demand for a reason. Um, so they're willing to wait, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, they must really want to work with you if they're willing to wait over a year. That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, we had a client who waited, I think it was about 7 months because her shower was leaking. And she had just remodeled. She had bought a condo and remodeled, and 2 weeks in, she noticed the shower was bad. And she waited, I believe it was 7 months where she literally never used her shower, and she was just soaking in her bathtub every day. 'Cause she was waiting for us to come remodel because she felt the confidence in us and was too scared to try anyone else. So really try to, if we can develop that quality with one client, it's easy for them to spread the word to the next people and the next people and the next people.
Yeah. So have you thought about trying to expand the team and kind of get some more horsepower and capacity?
Yeah, we have. Um, for this particular year, we're focusing on efficiency. And a lot of that is, creating templates and estimating and things like that to reduce the manual labor. And then next year, we're going to focus on growth. Um, and we need to kind of see how that looks. For us, the way that we pay or way that I do payroll and pay, our team is as a percentage of the job. So it's not hourly. Um, so that makes scaling a little bit trickier, just something that we need to figure out. We're kind of like one cluster right now of 4 guys. We have had, a little more. We have had up to 6 guys. But it's like if I just hired someone right now and out of that pool is like I'm gonna pay you like this percentage, um, then it deducts from everyone else. So it needs to kind of be like a separate cluster, kind of self-managed, doing their own projects. Um, so yeah, that's just one of the things that we need to think about as we scale. But yeah, definitely would like to get bigger, and then obviously we could service those clients without as much lag time.
That's interesting. So the whole team is getting paid based on a percentage of the active jobs, I guess, that are, so every invoice that gets paid, you just gonna have a percentage of that goes out to each person.
Correct. Yep. So I have my percentage that I make on every job. Brian has his, the other guys have theirs, and it's consistent. It always stays the same. And that's based on the labor for every job. So not on fixtures or selections or subcontractor labor, but just the labor that we perform. Um, and we track that. So yeah, I pay it out as clients pay invoices. So it's unique. It kind of makes it um more performance based, but not like piecework. So there's never been an issue where we're just like rushing through something to get it done to get paid faster. We still take our time, do the highest quality we can, and then when we're done, we get paid. And I'm in the boat with the guys. Like I'm not paid any differently. And I like that too, just being down in the trenches the same way. But yeah, I've been told that's really unique. That's kind of just what made sense to me when I started the business, and it's worked really well. Um, so
It creates a really unique scenario for all of us because we're essentially all create a net for each other. So I can get paid for jobs that I never even set foot on. And same with all of us guys, and say someone is sick or they take time off, they essentially still get paid for their time off because they'll get paid while the rest of us continue to work. Um, but when all of us are doing that together, it's all fair and it's all flexible and allows us all to have that independence and that ownership of every single job, wanting the quality to be there, wanting to make every customer happy and having that, the destiny in your own hand. But also we get the safety of not every single person is on their own and taking on the risk of, if I work today, I make money. If I don't work tomorrow, I don't make money. So it's a very unique system. It works if everyone's working, and it's been great for us. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. I can't say I've heard of I've heard of that compensation structure before, but I mean, yeah, I could see how that would be. You know, I wonder if it's because, like, you guys are so close, and there is kind of that. You've got the family, and then you got the other two brothers, and, like, it seems like, that I could see that being harder if you did bring in kind of outsiders who, might, not have that same kind of relationship, or, where you guys might not, have built up that trust with them yet. But super interesting for sure. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty thought provoking for people, at least to think through maybe some of the ideas. And for us, it can be a double edged sword if you are thinking about expanding. Like, what happens if you try to get a 20-person crew or a 50-person crew or a 100-person crew? But what it does for us is our business is very focused on very high quality product with a very intimate relationship with our clients, of a friendship that gets developed professionally. And so it also helps us maintain that to where anyone who is going to be working with us, they will be able to carry those same standards, and you don't get the random person who really just comes through and does something, really low quality. It also helps maintain our standard, and it helps us vet if we want to bring somebody in who is going to be carrying our name and reputation forward. It also helps make sure that their qualities are aligned with our qualities.
Sure. And so you said it's basically it's based just on the labor component that you all are actually self-performing on. So, like, I guess that probably then requires you guys to really have dialed in your production rates and be very good at estimating, how long project would take. Am I right that you're selling these at fixed price, or are you doing cost plus jobs here?
Yep, all fixed price. There's always, hard bid up until COVID. And then during COVID, we had to change the verbiage to, call that an estimate. So technically we do estimates, but since we're so used to hard bidding jobs, I mean, they're very accurate. There's usually not changes unless it's a change initiated by the client.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, we do have that dialed in pretty well. Um, and I think it's also important to be flexible where if there's a job and, maybe we do pretty well in one area, but, like losing on another area, we really try to not go back to the client and be like, oh, I really screwed up. Like, I need more money. It's like, no, like I made a mistake. Like, I need to eat it. And we learn from it. And we learn from that for future jobs. So, but yeah, accuracy is definitely very important to make it work. Um, and I was kind of concerned about that in the beginning, and it really hasn't been an issue. So, I mean, I'd recommend it for other listeners just to think about it and think about how it can benefit. Because the great thing for the guys is it provides an above average income, and it's great being a business owner and not having everything you're paying out being tied to hours. Have it being tied to performance and working as a team. I just feel like is a much better way to go.
Yeah, I find it's pretty unique. I was listening to the most recent podcast you put out with Bob Perez this week, and like he was talking about how they do cost plus, and that he really loves Job Shed because it helps put the pricing in the hands of the customer. Because he says, he can't really know the final cost of his projects till the end. And we're kind of the opposite of that, the other side of the coin, where we get to give somebody their price in ahead of time, and they get to go into the project knowing what the price is, like Jeff said, unless they want to change the scope of work.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it does make us very efficient on knowing pricing and knowing timing, like you said, estimating the time and labor. But that also really lends well into our scheduling. We're able to schedule really, really well because we can estimate that really, really well with our labor cost. So those two things go really well hand in hand. Um, and it comes across to the client, like the project I'm currently working on. Yesterday, he even remarked, he's like, "Man, it was so cool that like you guys scheduled us 6 months ago, and you started on the day that you said you'd start when you scheduled us 6 months ago." And I would say 99% of the jobs, we literally start on the day that we give the client, whether that's even a year out or whatever. We start on that day and we have the schedule built out on job tread. So a year in advance, they can go through and look at the whole project and be like, here's demo, here's electrical, here's plumbing, all that stuff. So those two go really, really well hand in hand.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I assume you're using the baseline feature too, so you can see when you originally, set the schedule, and then if it did end up changing, like you'd be able to know and compare.
Mhm. We do, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, scheduling is something I was kind of doing most of, and I passed it off to Bry um, just this year, and he's excellent at it. So we're getting better in that area too. Because I'm probably the one who stays on schedule the least. I'm the worst at it because just some of my days are just admin stuff I have to deal with on the job site, and it might be a quarter of my day or half of the day. So, but like Brian said, like if we know we're behind, like it's kind of like flying a plane, you might be late to your destination, but you can find different air and different currents to make up time. And it's the same way in construction. Like there's ways to make up time and, kind of get that week back or get those few days back to get back on top. Instead of just being like, I'm sorry, Mr. Client, like we're off schedule. It's like, no, like let's figure out a way to be on schedule. And if we really can't, then we'll make a change.
That's awesome. I mean, and I could see how that would also motivate you all to go above and beyond if you needed to work longer hours or come in on a weekend or something like that, like to make up that time or to keep it, on schedule. Like you have that extra incentive because the sooner you can wrap this project, and start the next, like that increased compensation comes.
Yeah. Well, we had a situation even this morning where a client where we had done, a master bath and a hall bath for them, um, over a year ago, had an issue with the plumbing. Not our fault, but the fixture itself failed. And so, you know, Fridays are actually off days for us. So we're like, yeah, like we'll be there. We're going to make it happen. I think that's important too, is being flexible and not always being rigid and like, no, we don't work any weekends. Sometimes it's even better for us to work a weekend because it helps like the rest of the schedule go smoother.
Hmm.
And we've even done it like, hey, I need to work a Saturday, but I'm gonna take Wednesday off. You can uh make those compromises.
So wait, so Fridays you always take off? So is this like what are you working a 4-day work week or is it like you're picking up a Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, so yeah, I can't remember, about a year and a half ago, we made the decision to go to 410s. So we work Monday to Thursday.
Huh.
7:30 to 6 is our work hours. And um as owner operators is owning a business, you never really have any days off. But when we're working 5 days a week and then you're trying to make up for something or whatever, and you're doing it on the weekend, and then you're still trying to get in family time and home life, you just don't have any. So we switched to 410s and it's revolutionary. I recommend it to everyone.
Hmm.
Because you're able to really focus on those 4 days and you put your energy in those days. It really doesn't feel, at least in my opinion, doesn't feel like that much longer of a work day, but it's a 20% increase because out of 5 days you're dropping to 4. That's one less day that you have to drive to work, drive from work, set up your tools, take down your tools. Just that extra 1 or 2 hours, lets you get productive time in as opposed to cleanup or setup time. And then as owner operators, it gives us this Friday to, if we want to catch up on emails, scheduling bids, anything like that. Like a lot of times I'll tumble out of bed Friday morning and I'll just do 2, 3, 4 hours of computer work. And then, it's 10, 11 o'clock. It's not even lunchtime yet. And I just feel so on top of things, so caught up, and it still feels like a long weekend ahead of me. Or if we have, an emergency where a plumbing fixture failed, or a weekend project or anything like that, it gives you the flexibility to put in 1 or 2 work days and you still have Sunday totally off of work or whatever. And it's just revolutionary as an owner operator. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Well, it's great for the client too, because all of the same work gets accomplished, but we're in their house one last day a week. So it's one less day of noise or interruptions and all of that. So it's great all the way around.
yeah. I guess I had never really thought about like just the efficiencies that would come from not having to set up and tear down, that one extra day. I mean, if you can squeeze a couple more hours, and I mean, I'm, I probably work 10, 12 hours a day anyways. Like what, I could see how like it just could very quickly and easily become a norm. And then you just feel like you get such a bonus from that Friday, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was great because we're like, man, we work way more than 10 hours in an average day anyway, so might as well get a day off for it. And, here in Denver, there's all kinds of outdoor activities and they get really busy on weekends. So it's awesome. Like, I go hiking or snowboarding or dirt biking, like, you can go on Friday and avoid the crowds. Or, those things that are hard to do, like get to the DMV, um, you know, it- taking time off work. It's like, it's easy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's great.
That's great. What's the competitive landscape there for you? I mean, it sounds like if you're getting a bunch of referrals, you may not be getting, into too many competitive situations, but like do you have to compete?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of contractors here in the Denver area. We're specifically in the South Denver metro area, and it's the largest HOA in the country that we live in. I believe here in Highlands Ranch. So it's a lot of keeping up with the Joneses, and if someone on your street remodels and puts on a deck, the next guy wants to put on a deck. So there's tons of contractors, for sure. There's definitely not as many high quality contractors. Um, but as far as the competitive landscape, it really hasn't been that way at all. I mean, all the contractors that we know, are very collaborative. And so, I mean, we've done jobs for other contractors and they've done jobs for us, and we've shared employees and helped each other, and, just, have them in our phones. We can just shoot them a question if we're struggling with something. So we really I don't really feel like we have any competitors. And, I also feel like we differentiate ourselves enough by how we operate that, um, we're kind of different. So, yeah, really, it's really a really great atmosphere here to be a contractor, I feel like.
And I feel like piggybacking off of that, I would say, at least for myself, where I feel like there's the most quote unquote competition is sometimes when you go do an estimate, someone will tell you, hey, I'm getting 2 other quotes or whatever. And so your price is going up against other people's. But for me, and I think Jeff feels the same way, I don't feel like that's too much competition against myself because we've done this long enough to kind of know where our value is, where our price point comes in at. And so we know they're going to get a quote from someone else that's cheaper and a quote from someone else that's more expensive. And we know that we're delivering quality with, we're delivering a product equivalent to what we're giving them. And so we have a confidence of what we're presenting. And if they don't want to go with us, we don't take that personally. We just know that they're wanting to purchase a different product than what we're providing. Some people want an iPhone, some people want a Samsung. It's it's just a personal preference, a different price point, a different product. And just because they don't want our product, it doesn't mean that there was something wrong with us, if that makes sense.
Sure. No, I mean, I love, your thought about just like, again, like viewing this as like an opportunity to collaborate with other contractors and work together. And, you throw them a job, they throw you a job, like being able to like have that mindset, I think is so valuable because, so many people like, I feel like they're missing out on opportunities to, to network and collaborate and learn from each other to help each other. There's so much more demand than there is supply. And
Sure.
it's just it's a shame when people can't, have those local events and those local opportunities to help each other. I mean, at the end of the day, like, we need the contractors to all succeed, to be here, to keep, that high, reputation for the industry. If, a bunch of contractors are, losing out and going under, and, people, the industry starts to fear, even more, like having a contractor come, but not being able to, actually manage the warranties and come back and fix issues and things like that. Like, it doesn't do anybody any benefit here. So I love you guys' approach to really viewing it as an opportunity to work together.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we really look at it like a rising tide lifts all boats. And so, yeah, I think I've heard you say that before yourself.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, like, what's the point of being like contentious? And there's more in it for everyone if you work together.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you're using some LIDAR scans. Is that render by chance?
We do use render. Yep,
Nice.
we started using it this year, and
Tell me about it. How's it been?
it's been awesome. I mean, that was one of those things. Like, we're always looking for little advantages. Where like, how do we save time on estimates? For us, we typically do our estimates at 5 o'clock in the evening on our way home, and that works for most people. So it's people love it, but it's around dinner time. So if we can get in and out of the home quicker and get that information more accurately, is awesome. And homeowners are blown away. Like, we always show them the scan and they're like, how does that work? And show them the report at the end. And they're just like, in their eyes, we look so much more professional. So it's a great tool, and we haven't even implemented it to its full potential. But what it does and how it integrates with job share is awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. I could see how people would get, especially those little bit more tech savvy, like it really is very interesting to see the scan like come to life, like right in front of your eyes. Like I could see that piquing someone's interest, and maybe even, again, like when you see a contractor using technology like that on the front end, I think it does bode well to building confidence that, man, like these guys are up to speed, they're well trained, they're, modern, know about the latest and greatest. I could see that sort of translating well to helping win the job too.
Hmm. Yeah, it does. I mean, it's all the little things. Even, instead of going around and measuring all the perimeter with a tape measure and hearing like that clanking noise of the tape retracting, I mean, it's just quiet. It's very it probably saves 50% of the time we were spending.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, it's a great tool.
And especially on larger projects, it can save sometimes having to go back once or twice if an estimate's taking even several months where people are getting their designs or picking out fixtures or different things like that. Sometimes they're like, the initial idea is I want to redo the flooring through the whole level. But then 3 months later, they're like, hey, actually, let's exclude the living room and we'll leave that carpet and let's do hardwood and the rest. Well, then instead of having to go remeasure what that square footage is, you can pull up that plan anytime and see all of those measurements and everything. And it saves so much time all the way around. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw earlier you guys had some pretty crazy awesome reviews there, a bunch of 5-star, and then has like saw, oh, they're using Nice Job too. So tell us about that. How's that worked out?
Yeah, Nice Job has been awesome. I mean, I think we had 21 reviews when I subscribed to Nice Job. And man, right away it was like all the clients that we had done work for that hadn't left a review yet. Most of them just went ahead and left one. It was like just an onslaught of 5-star reviews. It was really encouraging, actually. Um, and it's a great tool. Like, I think one of the things when I originally was looking into it that they told me was, it's not that people don't want to leave you a review. It's just reminding them or sending that prompt at the correct time,
Yeah.
where they might get in, they might be driving and they're busy and they forget. So the way it follows up 4 times, and then if they do leave one, prompts, for a referral, all that, it just operates so smoothly in the background. It's been a great thing to kind of add to the products we use.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love seeing all the integrations, and I can tell the focus on efficiency is huge.
Hmm.
It's pretty neat. Have you guys dug into the workflows yet?
A little bit, a little bit. Yeah, I need a little bit of time to do that. It's this weekend. It's my little guy's birthday, so probably not this weekend. But that's been something, like, just kind of seeing it talked about on the forum, I've been super excited about,
Nice.
uh, because yeah, like we kind of say, like we're small, but we're mighty. So we try to do a lot with a little. And so instead of like hiring a bunch of people to do stuff, if we can automate tasks with, Brian and I and the people we have, um, I mean, it's like you don't have to pay that person to do it, and it's done right away when you want, and it can just there's so much potential. So I think that's gonna be huge. I'm super excited for that.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I see so many people that, again, they just they keep these manual processes in place year after year after year. And it's like, and then they get to the point where they're feeling so overwhelmed that they're like, well, we got to go hire someone and have them go do this manual process. And it's like, hold on, guys, like let's leverage technology. Let's go find ways to be more efficient, get more out of our existing resources before just jumping, to that conclusion that we need more bodies, to help us do things. So I love your focus on that.
Well, even the one update before workflows that was to be able to send a deposit invoice when a proposal is approved.
Yep.
Like that simple one. Every time it's sent, I get so excited because it's like that's one less thing I don't have to do anymore. That's one example. It's just great.
Yeah, and if you can really draft up the whole, like if you had multiple payment, uh, you know schedules, or kind of different invoices when you wanted them to go out. If you timed the task, so even if you did need to shift it, which sounds like you guys don't really need to shift your schedules too much, but it would also shift that date there. But yeah, that's
Technology is huge. I mean, that's how we got onto Job Tread was when Jeff and I started, it was you just start with what you have, you know? So our calendar was just Apple calendars on our phone, and we just use notes on your phone and use one program for accounting, one program for bidding, and you've got half a dozen or a dozen programs that you're trying to do all this. And as we've grown and everything that's happened over the years, we just hit a point where we're like, hey, we really need to find something that brings all these together in an efficient way, in a professional way. So we started exploring and we found Job Tread, and it's just been incredible just bringing all of that underneath one roof and all those different, your bidding, your invoicing, your schedule, all that stuff can just, intentionally be integrated together into one program. And, I just like you said, trying to build that efficiency. We're trying to evolve with the efficiency. So maybe our team hasn't grown, but our capabilities continue to grow year after year because we are working on, what one person can accomplish because of being able to offload a lot of those repetitive
Sure.
responsibilities.
So what would, when you guys think back, like what would you say have been some of your biggest challenges in trying to build this business?
Well, I would say, initially, like Jeff said, he started in 2018. I came on in 2019, and those were the real early days. And then COVID hit spring, 2020. And, it, our company was growing pretty smoothly through there. But then COVID happened and it was just nothing but question marks. I mean, I remember days we were driving to and from work and we're like, hey, like, if things slow down, like maybe we should look at being Uber drivers or, like we're literally like, are we gonna be construction people or like cashiers? Because really like I thought construction was gonna die there for a minute because people weren't gonna want other people coming into their home if, you're potentially bringing a virus or something. But then the opposite happened and things exploded because people were stuck at home and they wanted to get their home projects done. Um, so thankfully that went well. And yeah, honestly, I think, one of Jeff's big mottos has always been want to do all aspects of the business well. So there's a lot of skilled tradesmen out there, but maybe they're not good at computer work, or there's people good at computer work, but maybe they're not good at finances, or all these different things. And so we've always really been intentional of let's do all the aspects well. Let's be really communicative to our clients. Let's do well on the finance. Let's do well on the schedule. Let's do well on the bidding, all these items. So as we when we first started, we were booking out 1 to 2 months. And like we said, we're now booking out a year, year and a half. So as everything grows, we've tried to grow with the space and maintain our level of quality through all those areas as we've gone. And really the caution is not to overextend, right? You want to go too far too fast. And so that's really can be the difficult thing of, going too far too fast and overextending. And then it takes time because you've committed to projects before you can catch back up.
Yeah. What would you say, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I would say in general, the 7 years of owning the business have been, um, I think overall quite smooth. Um, the first year obviously was the scariest year because I quit my job and left, and but my wife had her job in corporate America, so I didn't really have to stress to like make a certain amount of money, so that was like huge. And then yeah, during that COVID phase, her company went out of business, and it was about a month before we are gonna have our first kid, Reed, and so that was stressful because it was like, now I you like got to make it happen, like all in, one income. And then like Brian said, during COVID was challenging. It was like we took a month off, and we're just like, man, the schedule was just insane trying to make those compensations for what was going on. Um, but overall, I feel like we've been blessed to have a good ability of anticipating problems before they happen. Um, so that's, with little things, day-to-day things on the job, maybe even anticipating a problem that a subcontractor might run into and bringing like the tool that we know they're going to need instead of running to the store. And also being able to do that on a bigger scale with business in general, like what's on the horizon, like, okay, that might be a rough patch. How can we avoid it? Thinking ahead. Um, but yeah, I'm really blessed. I mean, we really have had a pretty smooth road and definitely intend to keep it that way if we can.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the, what's the bigger vision here though? Then, 5, 10 year plan. Where do you guys want to take the business?
Man, I think we're kind of figuring that out, honestly. Um, it, it's kind of tough. I mean, because we both really enjoy what we do. So, like, for me personally, it's not like, man, I want to just make a bunch of money and retire on an island. It's like, I'd kind of love to do what I do for quite a while. Um, but obviously, um, I don't know if it'll be where, you know, my boys will eventually take it over. Not really sure as far as like the end point, but um, it's always been important to me, no matter what happens with the business, that like say it got sold and I sold it. Um, it happens so often where a business is sold and then the new management just drives it in the ground, or it's not the same, or it's different. And because we're very personable and have strong relationships with our clients, like no matter what happens, I just want it to be the same or better if there's a change like that. Um, but yeah, for the foreseeable future, it's just getting better every day. One of my things that I try to be 1% better every day in work, at home, in everything. So making those incremental improvements continually, and I think growing. We definitely, we've turned down quite a bit of work, and now we're at the point where it's like we shouldn't be turning down any work. Like we need to capitalize on all of that. So um, definitely some growth.
And I think that's a fun part about, owning a business and being able to brainstorm all those is, every day Jeff and I work together, we're like brainstorming new ideas as far as, maybe instead of just doing projects for clients, maybe we can try a fix and flip sometime, or just exciting that no matter what it is that we're doing, we can continually be brainstorming, what's a new way to do this? What's something we could move sideways into? Could we, you know, sell windows along with replacing them? Could we sell products? Can we, how can we network with other people? We're just open to the evolution of the business to where things happen, where connections we make. And so that's what's really exciting is the horizon is always an exciting unknown.
Yeah, that's great. When you guys think back, again, about the early years and just if you were to, give some other people advice, who may be starting off, still got maybe, the desire but haven't quite made the jump to create their own business, or earlier on in their years, like what advice would you give them that, maybe you wish you would have known earlier on that now that you think might be helpful?
Yeah, I think just expect it to be hard, um, but not in a bad way. Like it's like choose your hard, right? Like not taking action and having that consequence is hard. Taking action and starting your business and being successful is a lot of work. It's also hard. So just kind of um deciding and being committed to that decision, like I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna persevere. Like on my worst day, can I handle the worst case scenario? If I can handle the worst case scenario, then yes, I'm gonna do it. If I can handle the worst case scenario, then it might not be for you. Um, and one thing that I think is really important, and I just have noticed that is, I think, a skill that a lot of people don't have, especially we've noticed in subcontractors, is being able to see things from others' perspective. A lot of people just see things from their own perspective. So, um, for example, like if you're a business owner and maybe the plumber says like, yeah, I'm gonna be there in a week, but you think about it like as if you're the homeowner, right? Like, okay, in a week, so what day, what time? I need to plan that day, what I'm doing. Do I need to be home? How am I gonna give him access? Like that's just a thing that I've noticed. If you have that ability to think from a client's perspective, from a team member's perspective, anyone's perspective, it's just like it helps a ton. Um, so that's just a little tip that I have.
Yeah, 100%, and go professional, show up professional, talk professional, give a professional estimate. Just present yourself well. You don't need to show up um disheveled and everything like that. Just take the moment to show up where you can put your best foot forward, and people really appreciate that.
Yeah. And a lot of that stuff is free too. I mean, it's like don't show up in a van and have like Wendy's wrappers up against the windshield, you know? Like it doesn't have to be a nice van. It can be a 2000, but just um keep it clean, put down floor protection, even if it's like a 2-hour job and you might not even need it. Just the presentation that you're taking care of their home. Those little things, they don't cost any money, but they're super important. So I mean, that's just, I think if you're a new business owner, like that's huge.
Yeah, that is all such great advice, and it is sometimes the little things. It's the details that people may not think about that really truly do take something from being good to great, and just showing that you care, and that you're again having that that perspective, and being able to put yourself in that client's shoes, like what would I want if this were my home? If this were for my family, like what would I want the contractor to do? How would I want them to show up every day? It really does, like it makes all the difference in the world. And when you can, like, think about it from that perspective, which is, it's such great advice to, like, just take that extra moment. Like, how could we really elevate our game by just like being more mindful of what will show the most respect and what will help them feel even more comfortable, confident, excited that they chose you as their contractor. I think it is those little things, and just, clean, professional, responsive. You guys really seem to have it very well dialed in, buttoned in. What you guys are doing is just awesome. And I love seeing the again, the family, the brother dynamic, you got everybody involved here, but like you're clearly like one cohesive unit. I can't think of another team that I actually think is like more cohesively working together. Even if you're on different projects, like it still feels like you're one. I think you called it like a cohort or something like that earlier, but like you're one unit. And like everybody is incentivized to make sure that you're accomplishing every job and every goal that you set forth. Like, again, it's one team. It's very rare to see this. So many times people are incentivized just to deliver a result for their specific role. If you're a salesperson, you got to sell. If you're project manager, you got to get the job done on time and on budget. Like, if you're a field guy, you got to get the work done. And like, you guys like have come up with this really creative way to like share that responsibility with each other. And it just seems like everyone's able to do, any given role, but like at the end of the day, you sort of, work together to figure out, well, what's the best way to most efficiently and effectively get those jobs done so that, you get your Fridays off and you're snowboarding and, riding the bikes and doing all the fun stuff. Like, sounds awesome. I mean, I don't know if you're hiring, but, let me know if, I ever move to Denver, I want to come work with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, and the other part of it is like I really want to encourage other people like who are listening to this that like we're just regular guys. I mean, maybe what's different about us is we just care like a whole heck of a lot and we try really hard, but we're not we're not really special. Um we just happen to be good at what we do and we're committed to getting better, but like anyone can do what we're doing even though we're small. I mean, those little things, I mean, it's everything.
No. Awesome, guys. Well, look, I really appreciate you coming and spending the time with us today, sharing your story. It's been super interesting, super unique, and I think, again, it's such a cool way to like inspire others when they hear about these success stories and can like, hopefully take some things back to their business to rethink like, hey, what are some creative ways that we could come up with, incentivizing our team or being more, effective or even just, using technology and render and nice job and job tread, like, by pulling all these things together and by taking a minute to just really step back and kind of looking at the whole business. I love that you had kind of those themes. Like this year was about efficiency. Next year is about growth. Like, again, it shows that you guys are being very methodical, very strategic, and not just trying to rush into things, not trying to just force growth or force, something when it's all about controlling it and doing it in a manner that like you can maintain that high level of quality. You're maintaining your reputation, you're earning those 5-star reviews every job. So I appreciate you guys. I think you're a great role model to others, and yeah, look forward to seeing your continued success.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, Eric. Appreciate talking with you and just this opportunity, and it's been great.
Yeah, thank
And
you very much.
and I couldn't wish for 3 other better guys by my side to be doing this with Jeff, Alex, Mason, and my dad, my wife, Jeff's wife, everyone involved. Like, it's just an awesome team, and they're all the best.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, keep it up, man. You guys are doing great work.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Builder Stories. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and gained valuable insights that can help you in your journey along the way. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave us a review. And as always, if you or someone you know has a story to share, please contact us at builderstories.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Eric Fortenberry, and remember, every builder has a unique story. Keep building yours.